Hi, folks. Yeah. What just crossed my mind, I thought, okay, I'll do a video about this. Is that I did a video recently talking about Kylie Bevan is supposed to be of God. But the reality is, as I say, do I think she'll make it? No. But look, I'm going to speak about this point again because this is so important. And this is such an important point. And again, I'm sorry to her, but she's a perfect example of this. This is such a good example. And this might be the reason why God wanted me to think that she was supposed to be my wife. I don't know. But the reality is, okay, for her to be of God, she would have to admit, or come to a point of admitting, that what she's done in the past is wrong. Right? So therefore, not going to God about what I said, because when she found out that I said she was supposed to be my wife, right, that's what I believed, did she go to God? The answer is no, she didn't. The reason why I know the answer is no, that she didn't, is because she went to the world in how to deal with it. She asked the pastor to ban me, so why would she go to God about that? She wouldn't. The main reason why she won't is quite simple. It matters not from this point, from what I'm talking about, as to whether her marriage is good or bad or indifferent. Doesn't matter. The point of it is, let's say for a second her marriage is good. If she goes to God and God says, yeah, he's right. You were supposed to marry him, you weren't supposed to marry the person you married. If your marriage is good and you're happy with each other, how are you going to deal with that? Well, the reality is you won't. If your marriage is bad, right, and you go to God and God says, yes, this person is supposed to be your husband, now you're thinking, I've gone through all these years of a shit marriage when I could have been married to this person and I had a happy marriage for all these years. Now again, is your mind going to be willing to accept that as being true? For most people, the answer is no, of course not. No. Because the fact that you've stuck with your marriage must mean your marriage is of God. Even if it's a bad marriage, the fact that you're still in it and you haven't walked away must mean it's of God. Because otherwise you're a complete bloody idiot, aren't you? Standing in a marriage that isn't of God, right, to look good to people in church because you're not divorced, when you're with the wrong person. When God never wants you to marry that person. Right? And again, as I say, people won't do that. Yeah. So therefore, going to God about things like that, yeah. People lose out. Big time. Big time. Because of the human mind. Partly because, well, fear. The human mind's put fear in you. And again, it's so difficult to admit you're wrong. Well, especially that wrong. A little bit wrong, yeah, okay. But that wrong? No. Yeah, that's really difficult to deal with that and to get past that. Because you're talking about levels of wrong that are just extreme. Massive. That's so difficult to admit that you made a decision that's basically effed up your life. That is such a difficult thing for people to accept and then deal with. It's far, far more likely that if someone heard that from God, not that they effed up their life, but that yes, they married the wrong person. And the person is now saying that you should have been their wife is right. What are they going to think? They're going to think that, no, that can't be true. Right? But again, most people won't even go to God because the possibility that what they will hear is yes is just too big a thing. It's just too frightening. Right? It's huge. And so, yeah. Will she be able to get to a point where she can acknowledge and accept that she's been that wrong? I don't think so, no. Because, as I say, it's something for most people that is difficult. Very, very difficult to do. It's very, very difficult. Unless there's an intervention. That intervention can be by, well, as I say, if you commit a crime and get arrested and go to prison, that's an intervention. Your life has stopped from what it was. You've had an intervention. You're now in a position where you've got to face up to bad decisions in your life, right? So therefore, it's far easier in that position to accept that your whole life might be wrong, that all of your decisions might be wrong. It's far easier to get there when you're there in that position because there's been an intervention into your life and there's been a challenge into your life, right? Yeah. Yeah. Or if your marriage completely collapses, or if you get sacked from your job because you've done something inappropriate, which again, you'll probably end up being in prison for, right? And again, all these things are things that are going to get you to be seriously thinking about the mistakes you've made in your life and be in a position to actually accept the huge mistakes you made in your life. Because generally speaking, no. You know, who in their right mind is going to make a decision that they know could completely turn their life upside down? No. When life is good, no one's going to decide to do that. If you've got a button, say carry on as you are, one button, the other button turn your life completely upside down, I think most people are going to press the one that says carry on as you are. Right? It's incredibly brave to press the button saying turn your life completely upside down. Or this may turn your life completely upside down, that button. Who's going to press it? That takes incredible bravery. Incredible bravery. Well, especially if you're doing well in the church, or if you're counted as a respected member of the church, that you've been there for a long time and therefore people look to you. And what a problem that is, eh? For a lot of people. They get truly and utterly knackered because of that, don't they? Pride. Yeah, and even if they're not a people pleaser before then, they quickly become one because they start to understand what pleasing people does for them and how that pleasing people is actually good for them. It makes them feel good. It's not good for them at all, but it makes them feel good, and therefore it makes them feel it's good for them. Because if it feels good, it must be good for them. Yeah. Not though. It is not good for them though. But hey ho, we are where we are. And that's the point. Yeah. As I say, I wish all these people in all these churches well, but yeah, the problem is, and the reason why the church is the way it is because, yeah, people are very weak. They've been made to be weak in these safe space churches. Yeah, offence means that they want to ban people or certainly stop people from saying things that could offend them because they're not able to deal with such things. When if they're not able to deal with that, how are they able to deal with you're wrong? You've made decisions in your life where your path that you're on is going to lead you to hell. And when you talk to others about what you believe is being true, you're encouraging other people to go on a path to hell. Oh, yeah. Understanding that is the case. Oh my goodness me. So I say these interventions are quite fortunate. So again, yeah. That's why quite often God chooses people that have been through stuff. Because when you've been through stuff, while you're going through it, you're able to accept that maybe you've made terrible decisions in your life. And then when God raises one about what you believe and how you believe it, well then yes, you would accept that as that, wouldn't you? Yeah. So there you go. I wish you well. Again, I'm not saying that I hope that she doesn't get there to be someone of God, but I just know that the journey to get there, as I've described, is incredibly difficult. To say the least. It is horrendous. Well, for me it was, and do I think it would be any less so for other people? No. No, I don't. I don't. As I said, I think the reality is for a lot of people, that my horrendousness was split up into years and years and years and years and years. So it was over a long period of time. Some of them, like 2021, there was my two worst fears in the space of no time whatsoever. And so that hit really hard. But as I say, generally speaking, it's been spread over years. I think for other people now, it's going to be spread over weeks. And yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do that. No. That would be September 2021. At least that for those people. At least that. And I wouldn't want that. But then again, I wouldn't want it again, so I wouldn't necessarily, especially, okay, for me, as I say, to a certain degree, I was able to go through it because when it comes down to it, I've been through enough stuff already, and so therefore I was able to go through stuff because of that. But, yeah, in the end, yeah. For people that have had more of a sheltered life, then yeah, I wish them well. So you take care. Yeah, it is what it is. I do wish these people well, but yeah. And I hope that I hope more can go through that, because certainly going through it helps a lot. It does. It just helps you to be stronger in so many ways. So yeah. So there you go. You take care. God bless. Bye bye.